Jack said to me, "I want you to meet this guitarist." So I went to a club, and there was Brian, and he said, and we got chatting, and suddenly it was a case of.
My daughter would have been very impressed.
I've lost the thread completely now. Which is usual, working with him. But
it's my job to like sort of upstage the singer. I mean,
How about the stage names? Because stage names are quite important, or not? They play a big part in punk rock. How did you come about with your stage names?
Well, yours was given to you.
oh, I didn't fancy it, to be quite honest.
You had a few though at the beginning. You had different ones.
Dame Edna Beveridge.
Yeah. For obvious reasons.
The one I fancied was Dwayne Zenith, which was
Catchy little number, that one.
really poncy, and thank God it didn't,
Dwayne.
But was it Larry Wallace who
Yeah.
called me Captain Sensible because I was, well, pretty drunk most of the time.
I think I'm going to play the first single that was released in October of 1976, which really, when you listen to it today, to me, it's still so absolutely thrilling. So I just wanted to ask, when you're performing this, when you perform New Rose today, like does it feel as thrilling and like a call to action as it did when you first recorded it?
I still like it. I must admit, I still get a thrill when I hear it, because it's like. I guess it's like one of those songs that as soon as you hear the first few bars, it's like hearing Telstar for some people or whatever, whatever that song is. But you're not so excited by it, are you? You still like it though, don't you?
Yeah, it's not actually, I mean, it's probably a few guitar players out there, it's not that easy to play. That stretch, da-da-da-da, it's, and now that, now that I know that it comes from Beethoven's Fifth, I mean, all the magic's rubbed off. Da 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 da.
But it's interesting, you have the whole Shangri-La's influence, and not influence, but you used
That was the
used
weird
the
thing.
term.
That went on there totally by accident.
Really?
You know how I was saying, I'd seen the New York Dolls a couple of years before I was in the other band, and I loved the way they would mix all those kind of Shangri-La's kind of things in their music, because I was a big Shangri-La's fan. And so when I did that, it was just something in the studio. I had, just messing around, and they go, "Oh, I like that," and then left it on. So it's been on ever since. But
That sounds great.
never planned. It was just
Happy accident.
a happy accident. Yeah.
So your album came out, your first single comes out October 1976, 5 weeks before the Sex Pistols' first single.
Longer than 5 weeks.
Longer than 5 weeks.
Much longer, yeah.
Okay.
Theirs came out in October or something. Ours came out in March.
Oh, okay.
March.
Well, that's the album. I think the album came out in February. Did the album come out in February, and theirs came out in October? So I think.
I mean, they were waiting for a big bucks
Yeah.
kind of, deal with EMI or whoever, which big label would, give them loads of cash, and we went with Stiff. I mean, I know which way I think is the punk way, but
Now, Stiff Records, when you signed to them, I guess they're originally more like a pub rock kind of label in a sense.
Pretty much.
What was the atmosphere like over at Stiff Records?
Crazy. You know
How
what was
so?
going to happen. Well, because Jake was a really volatile person, and he would either get on with someone or he wouldn't. And he was always inciting people to punch him in the face all the time. Just weird, very bizarre. That's his diplomatic skills were a little short. But he had great ideas, and he was always full of excitement, and he'd be racing around, saying, "I've got this great idea for this word that goes there," or whatever it would be. He had a clock on the wall that said, what did it say now? "When you murder time, you kill success," which I thought was rather good.
And also your album artwork too. That had some pranks from Stiff on that as well.
On the artwork?
Yeah.
Or do you mean the actual cuts on the record?
No, on the back cover.
Oh, the fact that he wasn't on there.
Do you mean that thing there?
Well, that's a prank,
That's the
yeah.
front.
That's the
Oh,
front.
that
How
was-
did that come about?
Well, no, that was nothing to do with Stiff, in actually. No, this is the one. See, this was the picture that I think Jake thought was the best picture. And, of course, somebody thought, "Where's my face?" So we magically had to put this thing in here. The angelic looks of Raymond Burns there. So.
Well, it came to my attention that you can neither see my face on the front or the back. And I thought, they're only going to ever let me make one album in my life, because after a few weeks, punk will be like in the dustbin. So I wanted to show Auntie Sadie a picture of me. I say, look, Auntie Sadie, look, there I am, I made a record. So I ran down the passport office at Paddington Station, and I had that one taken.
But this back cover here.
Yeah, this was supposed to be a genuine mistake, but I don't think it ever really was.
I know, yeah.
You know, this was Stiff's marketing. It was really easy to work with. I mean, basically, the studio was the size of someone's small kitchen, where you could only sit 2 people in there at the same time to listen to anything, so I couldn't get the whole band in. The tape that we used was someone's demos, wiped over, and where we recorded, the ceiling went down at such an angle that only the drums could fit in at the ends, and so it kind of said, well, you're all going to stand and do the thing. And it was done incredibly fast.
How quickly was it done?
I think we did it in a week, didn't we? The actual whole album.
I remember it being 2 days recording and 2 days mixing.
Yeah, it was more or less a week, because we had and it was very.
Maybe
very
I've been
fast.
lying about it for years.
And basically, he just wanted to get the raw sound of the band performing the songs, and I sometimes had to kind of get behind a door or something, because when I was singing, there was so much of the band coming on, you couldn't hear anything else, you know.
So that was your vocal booth.
Yeah,
behind a door.
I could get in when there wasn't. You know. But essentially, Nick Lowe did exactly what we needed to get, which was the performance, you know, because that was what was important.
Do you feel it was more important, the performance, rather than doing a recording with lots of overdubs?
Well, I think that album wouldn't have been such a great album if you'd spent, 6 months on it and did loads of overdubs and guitar solos. And I think it captured the essential part of the band, the essence of the band. Yeah. The sound, the excitement, everything was there. And that's why I think it still sounds good, because it's done that way.
I mean, that album, you have to remember, at the time, what was preeminent was Emmylou Harris and Little Feat and, the soft disco pop that was on top of the pops all the time and stuff like that. I mean, this really got up people's noses. And people, I know there's been faster and louder bands since, but that record, was a seismic moment, really. I mean, and the production as well of Nick Lowe, I think really captured it, because he didn't so much produce it as not produce it, and that was the idea. I mean, there's no multi-layered, like sort of, there's no effects on anything. It's just like a completely gnarled noise. And I have to put my glasses on, because somebody reviewed it on Amazon. I thought it was quite pertinent, some of it. Damn, damn, damn pretty much captures the spirit and feel of the times, as far as I can remember, described by one C Sensible as a bunch of cider-drunk crazies making a load of noise in a cupboard. Not recorded particularly well, but was cheaply recorded on an 8-track at London's Pathway demo studio, which was indeed little more than a back room behind a garage. Yeah. You probably know this. Which one shall we have?
The single.
The single, New Rose or I Fall, and the show of hands for New Rose was pretty much everyone except yours truly. And they said I Fall, and one lone hand went up. It was me. But that would have been my choice for the first damn single, because it was just so... it's just so noisy, isn't it? And New Rose is fairly noisy, but that's kind of more of a kick up the jacksie.
Would you say that's your favourite song on the album?
It's a great, as a bass player, it's a fantastic song to play. None of those albums will ever be remixed, because they recycled the tape. So once they got a mix out of the damned, it was the 8-track, multi-track, they wiped it and they used it for Elvis the next day, and then Rugulator the next day, and Plummet Airlines the next, that reel of tape really, earned its keep.
Well, you're lucky early on then, really.
So there would
Yeah, I
be
guess
no
so.
remixes of any of those albums.
And the only reason we found out was because when one of the tracks was ending, there was some other music came out at the end. And we said, what's that? What's that? And they, oh, don't worry about that. Yeah. We can fix that. You know, it was someone else's, some poor, you know.
When did you feel like things were really kind of taking off? But did you feel like there was something kind of happening all of a sudden? Was there a point in time where you thought, actually, this is kind of a thing?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
you
was.
could feel it, yeah.
Yeah.
It was, but all the bands sounded completely different
Yeah.
to me. I mean, we didn't sound a lot like the Stranglers and the Clash, and the Pistols didn't sound like the Buzzcocks. So, you know, when punk became a homogenised sound a little bit later on, then you could say, yeah, that's, you know, you say, that's punk rock. But, you know, and the Only Ones and all these bands, Wire, I mean,
It was
there
much
was
more
so
diverse.
much diversity, wasn't there?
Yeah,
It was
it
just
was.
like no rules, and you just like sort of create something magic out of nothing. And then it became something that had a defined sound and a look. We declined to do autographs for a couple of years, didn't we? We just said, no, we're the same as you, you know, forget it. You know, buy us a drink or something, maybe. And people used to come up and say, oh, you're too much of a rock star to sign your name on my record or something. He said, no, the punk rock thing is that we're the same as you, and like, so you shouldn't treat us with any reverence at all. We're just like a bunch of buffoons who happen to play in a band, you know. Oh yeah. You know, so we started signing autographs, but you know, what can you do?
You can't win.
You can't win. But you know, the whole rock star thing is codswallop. But at the time, it really was a kind of revolution of some sort. I'm not overstating it, I don't think. I mean, I know by the reaction of the audiences when we ventured outside London, you know, we would drive them to the door. I mean, do you remember that one in High Wycombe where all we were left with was the bar staff?
Yeah. That wasn't an isolated thing either. It happened.
No.
Yeah.
How about your American tour? Because you toured on the West Coast, and that did inspire a lot of people to start bands themselves.
It still felt a little like post-war Britain, even though the 60s had happened. There was still this kind of little boxes that everyone was expected to fit into, and that's what you did, and that's where you went, and that was it. And then, you know, everything changed, basically. Sometimes not for the better, maybe, but sometimes it's good.
Yeah, there's less of a uniform in the sense that you have to do this. This is the structure of your life, and you must follow.
So I suppose that's why I find it hard when punk became a uniform more, you know, later, because that's what it was against. And it was also about breaking down the boundaries of, like Captain said, having, girls in bands were either a singing vocal group or they weren't very strong. You know, they were kind of, it was very much a business ruled by men. And I think punk changed that because you had so many people came into it, and not just punk.
Polystyrene and Chrissy
exactly.
and the Slits and stuff. It was magnificent, you know.
Equal footing, you know.
Yeah, and look what it's gone back to now.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us here today at the British Library. Thank you for releasing this fantastic album. I think I speak for all of us. And I just want to thank you all for listening. Thank you very much.